And some breaking news here from Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Studios. Let's see what it says. We should probably change the screen because that's what professional newscasts do. As I said, breaking news here on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Studios. Previously on clips were a hit with fans everywhere. With that in mind, we have a supercut available of all of the previously on clips so that you can see them completely out of context, because that is the best way to consume content. All content, no context, it doesn't matter. Just, you don't need to check context on this. Definitely don't check into anything, especially the part where SP talks about Chris getting contacted by Marvel to voice Captain America. Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Because of bad Cajun accents, mon petit.
I've said it on Twitter, I'll say it here again. If you skip the intro to this show, we cannot be friends. I'm not going to talk about that.
If I hadn't seen anything X-Men, I still know that the two of them are very well linked and have a lot of history between the two.
People need to remember that I believe it was Jack Kirby who went down into the lobby and punched somebody. I don't know if that's a rumor or not, but you were punching Nazis in comic books and everything. There's always been a political bent to Stan Lee and everything, even though you might not have seen it right when it was a kid. This is a way that they were able to address a lot of these themes. I mean, he ends up throwing a temper tantrum because a girl doesn't like him.
Don't take a drink every time, you'll get alcohol poisoning.
And the way he's drawn, you certainly get a sense of how much hair he's got on his arms. Also, with Rogue, by the way, entirely almost different set of powers. Yeah, her core power is that she can take strength from other people, and that's very similar. But she can fly. She's pretty strong on her own right. And she's, wow, I'm liking this version of Rogue. It's probably not comic book accurate, but maybe it is. I don't know.
In the courtroom, I'm like, the public's not that bad. It could never be that bad. And now I'm watching it now and it's like, oh my goodness. The court scene when they're throwing the tomato and then you see footage of school parents at school board meetings or something else. And it's just like, this was supposed to be a warning, not a playbook.
It's the power of 1960s Marvel magnetism. Do whatever you need it to.
As Haley used to say on the show, because of magnets.
We saw Deadpool. Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. And that kind of learning about who you are, I think, is a lot of why the X-Men as characters overall are such a beloved team in comics.
It's like, if you thought Magneto was bad, Magneto has a cause and has respect for some life. Apocalypse is just, let's just wipe everything clean. And I don't care if you're a human, I don't care if you're a mutant, whatever. You're either one of my minions or you are just wiped from the planet.
The battles happen around recognizable landmarks. So they start out in Paris where the Peace Accords are happening, and then they end up at Stonehenge. It's like, you couldn't have picked like a countryside cornfield somewhere. No, you have to mess up Stonehenge because Apocalypse's ship is under Stonehenge. And then the ship goes up and there's no more Stonehenge.
Well, yeah, how do you think he finds it? If you just have it in the middle of a field, it could be anywhere.
Oh, okay, good landmark. Yeah, yes. Should have put it under the pyramids. Stargate program.
Cyclops knows where Gambit came from. As viewers, we do not know at this point where Gambit came from. Gambit is being reckless. I very much appreciate that they are showing that his power is not just the cards, it's charging up anything. And he is taking full advantage of that. But Cyclops also needs to take a chill pill here. He's at about a 12. I need him to come down to a 2.
It's only going to get better. I know eventually, like the 5th season, but this show does get better. And it starts off strong and it's still going to get so good.
Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
But before we get there, I need to talk to you guys about something. I was wrong last week. Chris, do you know why I was wrong?
I can think of at least 12 reasons, but what's the one you're thinking of?
They did an amazing job on one of the most classic stories from comics, Days of Future Past. Better than the movie. Again, this show, better than the X-Men movies.
I'm going to go a little bit more basic here. We're talking time travel. We get a time travel story. That's awesome. I love time travel stories. I just did an episode of Time Traveler's Wife for another podcast. Just love it.
Figure out in the next, after Days of Future Past, Magneto's basically was just sitting around with a drink, maybe with an umbrella in it. Who knows? Just waiting to see all this awfulness unfold. Didn't happen. Kidnapped Senator Kelly himself.
I want to interject one thing. The ship that Magneto's on reminded me so much of the Amazo back in Arrow, right? The Green Arrow off the island, right? I was just thinking, oh, what's the name of the ship? Please tell me it's the Amazo. Please tell me it's the Amazo. But of course, that would be crossing the streams.
Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
This is like what it feels like to read a comic. You got these little self-contained stories, but an overarching one that makes you want to buy the next issue.
I've been having a blast watching this with, odd years of distance and seeing what my impressions now are from when I was younger. I think my opinion has definitely evolved on a lot of the characters.
I'm watching the series for this first time as an old man. Gray in my beard. I'm watching it. I'm really enjoying it. Morph is dead in the first episode.
I hated his little laugh. I hated him.
And now I have these conflicting stories in my head.
X-Men is Marvel's greatest superhero soap opera.
Mr. Sinister. This is a new character for me.
Mr. Sinister is what happens when shippers go to the extreme.
They have the same goal. They want the same things to happen. It's just a matter of how are they going to get there. Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I have a quick question to ask you guys. Do you watch one episode a night like Chris said he did a couple of weeks ago? Or do you binge watch it all at once? Time loops.
Oh boy, you don't know what you did.
Bishop is coming back in time to look at the same thing.
Time loops.
And then coming back in time to look at the same thing again.
Time loops.
Comic writers often, they go back and they try to bring in more depth, change a few things.
Another thing that I want to talk about, or have somebody else talk to me about, is time loops.
When they start talking about the plague and they did the whole quarantine, and I'm just going, I haven't been out of my house because of the current COVID situation. And this is, why is this feeling real again?
Time loops. Time loops. Time loops.
Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Here's Hank, who is expected to be the strong one, the rational one.
He looks a certain way, and he knows people are going to perceive him a certain way. So he's cultivated this image of very polite, witty, charming, non-threatening.
He had spent so much time with Carly, and yet he is surprised that she knows he is a mutant, and surprised that she can recognize him by his smell.
The aftershave.
That was
Beast
the joke, yes.
doesn't shave.
That was the joke.
You think it's pointless up until the point when next season, we've seen moments throughout this season. They've been very tiny.
Also, my lesson for that episode is never, ever, ever go to the mall when the X-Men are going to be there, because bad things happen when the X-Men go to the mall.
Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Wolverine. Of course I had a former lover, and now she's just somebody I used to know.
My name is Lady Deathstrike. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
No, no, no. You killed him. Leech stole something from me. Therefore, that's why I can invade this place. And now the spaceship's mine and you need to die. And it's all your fault.
I don't really blame her because, I mean, if she's the hero of the story, we'd be on her side.
I like the word phalanges.
This plane is missing the phalanges. Just on a pure physicality spectrum that Gambit is going to be able to whoop Logan's Canadian booty pretty easily.
Don't touch the third rail when you get on the subway. Don't do it because that will even kill this monster. We'll see everybody next time. Bye.
Bye.
Don't forget
Bye.
to eat your broccoli.
Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Because of space birds, it felt a little bit like coming home.
Professor X should really try this new thing that's happened since he was born. It's called communicating with people.
Yes, space. Getting a bunch of blank stares.
Something like that. The only thing that I was really disappointed in is that our International Space Station does not look like what we got in the X-Men series.
Which I have an issue with because,
It's because I know what's coming.
all right, we can go down this really quick.
This time, Jean gets to be the host.
Gene Scott. Gene is Scott.
Jean Scott.
Scott. Gene Scott's
Scott's
Scott.
Summers' actual eyes.
Gene. Whoa.
Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. I have refused to watch X-Men.
It was interesting having the episodes without Scott, without Cyclops, without Professor X, all dealing extensively with the loss of Jean.
She doesn't want some sort of like darkness coming out. Completely bring the Earth out of balance.
Because it's pretty awesome what they can do with the animation.
They just came from a lecture from Beast and, Jubilee. Eventually, they sort of like glaze over and you get into like that weird headspace. It's like when my mom talks about football. Also, there being civilians at the moment.
I think the fact that there was, in some imaginary world, horseback riding in Central Park is really cool.
I have a question about the horses, though.
Yeah.
Does Rogue's power not work on horses? Because she definitely slapped that horse's butt.
It's just like a circuit. It's just overloaded.
Are you just going to glaze over the fact that for the second episode in a row, we get to talk about a kaiju fight?
Scott. Gene Scott.
Gene Scott. Storm, Rogue, Storm, Rogue.
Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Went back to the calendar of 1994 and said, what day of the week was November 12th, 1994? It was a Saturday. So basically, this is all about the Dark Phoenix saga.
That's what it's called.
Okay.
Is this perfect? No. But it's still a better story in 80 minutes than those 2 live action movies.
The last time we left Jean, she was literally flying into the sun. Then all of a sudden we see Jean in some kind of a treatment center. They couldn't have done a previously on about it or something?
Because we don't really get a lot of information beforehand about the Hellfire. Oh, wait. The Circle Club.
A redhead.
Which, of course, Scott gets interested in because there's something about Scott and redheads that's his motif that he likes, and he's going to roll with it for better or much, much, much worse.
It almost seems like he wanted to choose Dazzler, but he knew he had something going on with Jean.
But no, I'm going to dip because this girl I just met kind of had some trouble the night before. Chris is right at the beginning. Who is the bigger jerk this time, Cyclops or Professor X?
Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Hey, I'll meet you at the monorail.
Have you ever wondered what the term fan service means?
Because we need more background in Cyclops. Scott finds out who Dad is.
Why you have got a picture of me and my mom and my brother?
I have to imagine that it's solar powered somehow. But what do you think happens when they get power cuts out there? Hey, remember that time we saw, I don't know, Forge already? before in the future?
I'm pretty sure we could say that because these were aired out of order, but I'm pretty sure that already aired by the time we got to here. Let's play fight again. Might have not have told you because, well, we wanted to fight back and forth. Okay, nothing can go wrong there, right?
Oh, my girlfriend's kidnapped. Whatevs. All right, let me go back to being an accountant.
Have you ever snuck somebody out of an apartment?
If I say yes, will you not ask for the circumstances?
Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
They premiered on Fox Kids in kind of a weird order, which we'll talk about later.
Something really seems off with the timeline here, even considering that we're talking about X-Men.
I'm really glad I told y'all how out of order these things were because I had to look at Disney Plus and then IMDb and then Disney Plus again because I honestly thought I told you the wrong 3 episodes. Flashback of Palooza.
I didn't even know who that character was. I had to look it up. Silver Samurai, I believe, is the character, which is a known supervillain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Okay.
Big enough to be in Marvel vs. Capcom.
What's the bar for that? I don't even know.
Is there a bar? Maybe a dartboard?
Yeah, that's probably more like it.
Who do we have the rights to that we could throw in here?
Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Is that what it was? The colony? I never got their names.
Oh, but I'm this age, and I'm like, oh no, you're a child. Longshot's supposed to be so attractive, but he has that horrible mullet. And then I remembered, mullets are back.
But if he's reaching his hand out the window randomly, then, oh look, I just caught this kitten that was falling. How lucky.
I'm gonna cancel you.
Cody was only in the coma for a few months. He comes
Okay.
out of it. Rogue is gone. Rogue ran away. So when he wakes up, she's gone. He's only in the coma for like 3 months.
But he was in the hospital recovering for a while, right? I will say this would be a perfect story to revisit in X-Men 97.
My spouse walked through while I was watching and was like, what's up with that fish axolotl? I was like, it's a spaceship. Don't question it.
Haley said that too. Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Because of ocean physics.
Hey, we've got our drinks ready, we've got our snacks ready off camera, and we have our mute button ready so you don't hear us chewing because we're not monsters.
Missiles! All the missiles!
Missiles and space. And that's when Cortez started to take over. Like, this is not what this is. We need to be mutants and we're best and we're going to kill all humans.
Oh, Juggernaut, I want to punch you in the face. And Juggernaut says, whatever, I'm just leaving. You guys are fine. I'll get you later.
We'll just do a Suicide Squad thing and put something in your head. And Omega Red is just like, oh yeah, this thing? I mean, come on. Also, I wish somebody would just show the man a map.
Russia at this point is basically in shambles. He doesn't really have anything to fight for just because everybody is still trying to figure out exactly what and who they are.
I might be older than you guys, but
Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Hey, sometimes it has to be a dynamic duo. It was as though, hey, we have this episode done. Do you want to air it or do you want to wait another 2 months for the one that's supposed to be here in the story? And Fox was like, if it's done, we're putting it on air because we need a Saturday morning cartoon.
but he's an old man. He deserves to be looked after. You don't shake somebody with a concussion.
So have you ever gotten something from the fridge and then you hit your head?
4 seasons in, and we finally get the origins of the X-Men.
Yeah, I see this episode. It's like, this is the true prequel. This is what actually happened.
Jean, use your mind.
The Shadow King with the power of astral friendship. And I want the mind of the most powerful mutant so I can kill all the other mutants. The whole, let me use what I hate to kill what I hate.
I can just imagine that Larry Houston was having fun with this episode, throwing those cameos in.
Boom, 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 boom.
Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
We love talking about Marvel because time loops. repeated time loop stories. Again, she's not that great of a character.
If you're stuck, you spit.
And it's like the two things I would expect to never be allowed on a Saturday morning cartoon. And there they are, all nice and together.
Xavier is taken care of, and that is how the episode ends.
Sure, I believe you. Go out of the room. Okay, Nimrod, make sure you kill them.
Oh, I can't wait till next Saturday morning. This is so cool. What happened? Because this is just a kid's cartoon from the 1990s.
1995 was just a few short years ago. That's interesting. Interesting.
Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Who's the father? You're the father.
Xavier just can't get a break.
Getting dumped by letter with the ring in it was, wow, Moira.
There's, okay, again, X-Men allegory for all sorts of minorities.
The dangers of raising kids in isolation.
The stuff that's, you know, in X-Men that's supposed to be, this is something that's not real, except it is real. It's just looking at real things from a slightly different narrative. You know, mobs of people happen. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Conflict by silence.
That's kind of neither here nor there.
Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And if you have never seen the Muppets Christmas Carol, go check that one out. You will be happy you did.
These episodes are a good set of advertisements for the benefits of therapy.
Sometimes I act like I'm 5.
Logs are no joke. Those things are big and heavy and dense, and there's a reason why you build fortresses out of them.
What were car seats? Wearing seat belts all the time? Oh, yes, riding in the trunk, man. Not unconscious, though.
Especially if he has one of those underground monorails that all the superheroes have. And you ask a question in the show notes here. I'm just going to go ahead and say what it is. Dear Canadian correspondent is leaving your keys in the ignition, a thing up there.
I won the right to lead you warlocks in single combat. And I am Storm. So I'm just going to go do Storm things without leaving you my number, my email address.
But once again, we have a situation that can be solved by a monorail, and we need more monorails in our modern society.
Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I'm so sad that we're coming to the end of the series.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
This just really seems like the end of an era.
So the question is, exactly in the X-Men 92 universe, or the X-Men the Animated Series universe, is how time travel actually works.
Bishop is traveling through time and has an accident.
Came out of nowhere, right?
He's all like touching the tube and is like, I get to make the ultimate human race. And he's being all creepy.
Because you could have genetic baby making focus combined with turning people into dinosaurs focus.
You know, Chris, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur issue number 2 comes out next week. You going to pick that one up?
What is this, a science fiction convention?
We've been told it's a continuation. And I haven't seen season 5 yet, so I don't know how that applies to everything.
Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Everything was solved by science. Oh, my soul died a little bit. Basically, resistance is futile, prepared to be assimilated. I'm just like, they're the Borg?
So I blame this all on Star-Lord.
And his portrayal here is everything that's wrong with children's television.
We're not going to go back to it. He smells them, as Wolverine is apt to do.
The sharpest claws in the universe, but not the sharpest brain.
So you could have actually named them Scott and Jean.
Oh, dear God.
All right. So we've got... She's going for it right now. All right, Dribbles. There you go. On the podcast, she's dribbling. There you go. Michelle is now Dribbles.
If we're going to survive, I, Mr. Sinister, have to talk to Charles Xavier and get his help.
But your son's in trouble.
Oh, my son. Yes. Quicksilver. Yeah. Yeah. Should go help him.
Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Words cannot express how much I love those previously ons, by the way.
I'm sure
Okay.
it'll take me about 10 minutes to do something stupid.
So Storm is the Johnny Manziel of the X-Men?
She just goes with it a little bit too easily. And I wish that she had taken the time to at least assess her situation, going, yeah, maybe this is not all as it seems right away.
You just go, Gerbub, snicked, snicked, and he'd understand it.
Wolfie.
But look at everybody else. Beast and Cyclops. Let's be super gentle with this thing. Let's not do anything with it. Let's make sure we don't hurt it.
A portal opens in front of you. You just walk through it.
Are portals sentient beings?
The cake is a lie.
I'm not sorry. I don't blame you.
Yes, I work in education, but I'm trained to crush people's dreams. So I'm not too sure if I would be the best choice. I think if we're going to randomly pick one of us, we have to pick SP because we're responsible, I suppose.
Previously on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Lauren,
Okay, I didn't think this was made in the 70s.
the weird mouth movement, the awkward walking, the weird fighting. Rawr, rawr.
What the heck's going on in this episode?
Action instead of actually just doing what needs to be done.
I'm not a rocket scientist, so I don't know about astral alignments and everything with body sacrifices and stuff.
All rocket scientists know about body sacrificing.
All that was a bit of a stretch.
Well, Ra's al Ghul had multiple Lazarus pits. I mean, Apocalypse is near immortal. Maybe he invented the concept of redundancy.
I don't know what these final 4 episodes have in them.
It's all horrifying and
Because of wearing bright colors for covert mission.
You only got one more left, and that is punching Nazis.
Oh, I can get used to this.
They try to do too much.
Wait, it looked like a frickin', I don't know, Goomba.
I don't know if I'm ready for that.
What? I know you don't go into people's minds and everything, but
I reckon I could do better.
what the F?
Not now. No, nope, I'm out. I can't do this.
It's kind of a no-brainer. You have to do it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you have to give up anything because I don't know what happens in the last 2 episodes. Secret government thing, a shadow government, and then there was a shadow government within a shadow government, and then a shadow government within a shadow government within the shadow government.
No, they don't even bother to be in the shadows now.
Are you going to get Chris voicing Captain America in the future? I don't know.
I have no reason to think that they would come in and instantly connect to that.
Well, all I know is you can't go wrong with Tara Strong.